Scorpio Rising on Cosmic Girl 101, and this is your astrology video for the month of August 2024. Scorpio Rising, you have two planets that rule your first house. They are Mars and Pluto. So knowing where these ruling planets of yours are transiting are significant. And what's more significant is you've got two planets ruling your first house. So you have a lot of Plutonian and Martian aspects connected to your first house, how people see you, your physical body, your psychology, your character is very Plutonian and very Martian at the same time. Congratulations, two planets rule your first house. You are a yin water fixed rising sign, and a quick mention and a grateful thank you to all of the people that tune in to the content being through the lens of astrology and tarot here on Cosmic Girl 101 YouTube channel. I've reached over 12,000 views. I'm very proud of this, and it's all thanks to you guys tuning in that love these subjects. Thank you for all the likes, shares, and subscribes. And it's a significant thank you and very important that I connect with you guys and let you know about the progress of this channel. It is my passion, and I'm so grateful that astrology and tarot is of interest to you as well. Thank you so much. A quick mention about the slow planetary transits, because there's not a lot of activity going on with these planets in the month of August. So we have Neptune retrograde in Pisces, your fifth house, and goes direct in the month of December. You've got Uranus transiting in the sign of Taurus, your seventh house, and retrogrades in September. You've got your ruling planet, Pluto, retrograde in Aquarius, your fourth house, and on the 1st of September, retrogrades into the sign of Capricorn, your third house. Jupiter continues its transit in the sign of Gemini, your eighth house, and retrogrades in October. And Saturn is retrograding in Pisces, co-present with that Neptune retrograde, your fifth house, and goes direct in November. The sun for you as a Scorpio rising is transiting in the sign of Leo, your 10th house. And your 10th house is about your public image, your career, your profession, what you do, where you put a lot of energy and effort into. Now, when the sun's transiting here in that 10th house, there's a lot of responsibility, heavy lifting in regards to your workload. Also, authority figures may be highlighted here and interacting with you or discussing with you how to improve the workplace or the workplace environment in general. So there's a lot of energy going towards others and services to other people in regards to your career as a Scorpio rising when the sun is transiting through your 10th house. Now, the sun's making a few significant aspects this month, which I found very unusual as an astrologer. So I have included sun aspects, and I don't usually do that, but I've just found that the sun's really active in the month of August 2024. And it's in its own domicile sign, Leo, so that may have something to do with it. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But anyway, there's some big aspects. So let's get into it and what this sun is doing for you as a Scorpio rising in the month of August. Well, on the 7th of August, the sun is sextiling Jupiter, currently in your 8th house being Gemini. Gemini is a busy house in regards to communication. It's very cerebral. It's about intellect, exchange of ideas and concepts. It's all about the communication, details. It's about documents. It's about commerce and trade and markets. It's very much connected to resources, the sign of Gemini, because it's ruled by the planet Mercury, and Mercury has all of those characteristics and attributes to it. So when you have the sun sextile Jupiter from the 10th house to the 8th house, this is a conversation or some communication, or at least documents that are highlighted on this day that may need your immediate attention. But it's a necessary process of looking at things with a fine-tooth comb, quite simply because that 8th house is in aversion to your first house. So look before you leap in regards to an opportunity or taking on a debt. know the fine print basically on this day, because it can be exacerbated and a little bit over the top and a little bit, oh, this is fantastic. Just look before you leap is the forewarned is forearmed sort of message I'm delivering to you for you as a Scorpio rising on the 7th of August. On the 18th of August, the Sun is conjuncting retrograde Mercury in Leo, your 10th house. Going over details or a contract, renegotiations, a boss or an authority figure could be leaving the workplace, or someone you could be stepping in, or changes in authority figures in your professional environment. You may be having some pretty profound conversations or going back over some details or, again, contracts on the 18th of August. The 19th of August, the Sun is squaring Uranus, and Uranus is transiting in Taurus, your 7th house. So a Sun-Uranus aspect is very dynamic, and that's a lit word, but it is. It's dynamic because it's whoa, it's acute. It's like out of the blue. And so when you've got a square from the Sun and Uranus from your 10th to your 7th, it's an out of the blue change with a relationship in the workplace or agreement or a contract. Something is off here that sort of has you in a bit of a spin. So take it easy on the 19th of August and feel free to share in the comments section below next month in the next video for you as a Scorpio rising for the month of September, how this day plays out. I like to integrate the real experience so we learn through astrology the transits and how they can impact our own personal lives and experiences. An interesting day on the 19th of August. On the 22nd of August, the Sun is going to leave Leo and ingress into the sign of Virgo until September 22nd. Scorpio rising, this is your 11th house. And your 11th house sextiles your first house. So this is good in as much as things being a little easier in regards to communication with friends, groups and allies, people that you integrate with in regards to organizations or your your tribe, if you will. And also the 11th house has a lot to do with, looking at your dreams and goals for the future and just having a lot more fun. The 11th house is quite fun because we connect with people that we want to connect with. And when we've got the Sun transiting here in the sign of Virgo, no less, we're talking about really deep and profound conversations and exchanges with others. We are also possibly looking at changing up our allies or our connections, because when we have the Sun going through the sign of Virgo, we may be aware of what's working or what's not working and ready to disconnect and find new places and new faces for ourselves when you've got this transit happening for you, Scorpio rising. And no less, it is sextiling your first house. So you just may be starting to see some nuances or feel that you are intuitively aware there's some differences between people that you have integrated with for some time. And if you're feeling like things are getting stale with some important connections, this is a great transit to speak up and maybe be a little bit more braver and use your intuition and go, something's off here, I need to break free and get into a more of a group or contacts that are going to feel more and align with me. So yeah, interesting transit, Scorpio rising for you. And that Sun's transiting in Virgo, your 11th house, from the 22nd of August until September 22nd. Now on to the lunations for the month of August. Scorpio rising, there is a new beginning happening in your 10th house of career and employment on the 4th of August. You may have a new authority figure or a new boss walk through your door on this day, or you may be taking more of a leadership role in your professional life. We're talking Braveheart vibes here, passion, courage, and truth. And there may be some truth bombs that need to be expressed in the workplace to clear the air and go in a new trajectory in regards to your professional vision. On the 19th of August, there's a full moon in the sign of Aquarius. And this is your 4th house as a Scorpio rising. I've got a few words about how I describe a full moon in Aquarius. It's how we unite, it's the tribe, logic taking precedence, all with your fourth house topics, Scorpio rising. This is where we get really analytical and start being more cerebral about our environment and possibly feeling we need to spruce things up and freshen things up that feel more present, feel more modern. So you may be looking at renovations, you may be trying to change things up in a family dynamic that have been chronic. So you might want to break through or break away from family or have some pretty important conversations with family members on this day. But nevertheless, we are talking about full expression of things that feel very significant to you, connected to the heart. So you may be a little bit more heightened on this day and intuitively aware of your environment and how it affects you and how you want things to look in your future. This may be the day where you push a reset button in connection to the fourth house topics. Now on to your ruling planet Mars, Scorpio rising, where Mars is transiting as a Scorpio rising, and this is your ruling planet. It's significant for you. Now, Mars is transiting in the sign of Gemini. Now, a few things about Mars and Gemini first. What's the flavor of your ruling planet in the sign of Gemini and your eighth house? Well, first things first, the eighth house is an aversion to your first house, which means it's difficult to possibly be more aware of what's going on when Mars, your ruling planet, is transiting in a house that's in aversion to you. That eighth house is all to do with your finances. Mars in Gemini is like sharp intellect, direct speech, and quickening. It's like an acceleration of excitement, but it's cerebral excitement, it's communication excitement, it's exchanges of finances that is excitement, and a lot of busyness that can feel a little chaotic. So when you have Mars transiting in Gemini all month of August, your eighth house in aversion to your first house, you may be so stimulated by possibilities and options and choices that you may miss the mark in understanding details and the fine print when it comes to actually signing documents, shaking hands, and going into contracts and agreements. So forewarned is forearmed. There may be some things that you are overlooking or a little bit too excited about, and you anchor into something that could be of detriment to you. So it is a tricky transit, and it is your ruling planet. So you need to know the flavor of this for the month of August. The 14th of August, Mars is conjuncting Jupiter, and the only word I can use for this day is inflammation, exacerbation. Inflammation, well, we're talking about an inflammation of our intellect, our mental aspects of ourselves, overloaded with intel, overloaded feeling in conflict or unsure. This day, circle in your calendar, the 14th of August, can be very, very tricky and overloaded for you. And again, if there is a contract or a financial aspect on this day that is asking for your attention, please read the fine print before you commit. Now on to planet Venus, which has been transiting in Leo, your 10th house, and on the 2nd of August squares Uranus and Taurus, your 7th house. Trying to break free or feel like you have some freedom or movement connected to your professional life in regards to contracts and agreements or significant relationships. A tricky day on the 2nd of August. You may also have some out of the blue revelations in your workplace regarding someone declaring an attraction towards you, for an example, that throws you off. This is a possibility. And if you have a partnership, an intimate relationship, a partner may be going through a profound change on this day that throws you off. Or possibly it may be all work and no play. So a typical day on the 2nd of August. On the 4th of August, Venus is ingressing into Virgo, her fall sign, your 11th house. Venus in Virgo is highly aware of the details, the analytics connected to friendships, groups and associations, allies. And when Venus is transiting here, she's being very cutthroat in giving you an opportunity to know the values of your connections and know that you may need new places and new faces and even new dreams. On the 22nd of August, Venus is squaring Mars in Gemini, your eighth house. So, Venus squaring your planet in the eighth house of finance. Is the juice worth the squeeze in regards to a ally? Is there a problem with getting financial support from an ally or a friend? Is there a financial problem with a friend? Or possibly a dream or vision for your future may be costing you more than you may want to entertain. So, a tricky day on the 22nd of August. The 27th of August, Venus is trining Uranus in Taurus, your seventh house. So we have an easier day on the 27th in regards to getting down to the details with a relationship and getting on top of nuances with contracts, agreements, and negotiations and visions for the future. The 28th of August, Venus is opposing retrograde Neptune in Pisces, your fifth house. So 11th, fifth house axis is all about fun, joy, and pleasure, connected with other people, and also your creative sides and investments and your romantic partnerships. So this day could be feeling like, oh, do I hang with my friends or do I hang with my partner? Do I keep going with my artwork or do I go and play basketball? It's that sort of opposition. But because it's opposing retrograde Neptune, this is where you may be feeling you're losing your sense of joy and pleasure because of a group or a friendship. So, yeah, a difficult day on the 28th of August. The 29th of August, Venus is going to ingress into Libra, her domicile sign, and this is your 12th house. So your 12th house as a Scorpio rising is an aversion to your first house. Basically, it's like the curtains pulled across your eyes and you can't see behind. So what you may be going through when you have Venus in her domicile sign of Libra from the 29th of August, you may not see the value in stepping back. You may not be very available to others. You're doing your pleasure seeking with your spiritual aspects of life, getting into divination, going on retreats, going for massages, sitting with your own words and your own thoughts and loving, being more sedate when you've got Venus transiting in your 12th house. I like this transit. I like Venus in the 12th because we get a lot of pleasure for being very quiet and in our own spaces. The same day on the 29th of August, Venus is trining retrograde Pluto, your other ruling planet other than Mars, in a sign of Aquarius, and this is your fourth house. You may be deliciously looking at color palettes for renovations in your home with paints or furniture. This is where you may be indulging in spending more time in your home or with your family, feeling more comfortable in your own skin, in your environment. So, a delicious day on the 29th of August for you as a Scorpio rising. Planet Mercury, well, this planet is always busy, always doing something. And what is it always doing? It's always moving. And we are very much connected to Mercury. It's a personal planet. So Mercury has been transiting in Virgo, its exaltation and domicile sign, a very strong place for Mercury to be in its own comfort zone of Virgo. For you as a Scorpio rising, this is your 11th house. And on the 5th of August, Mercury is going to retrograde in the sign of Virgo, your 11th house. So we have a slowdown, a restructuring connected to your groups, your allies, professionally, friendships, and your dreams for the future. And you may be throwing the baby out with the bathwater when you've got Mercury retrograding in the sign of Virgo, your 11th house. So restructuring in regards to your communication style, where you travel and frequent, and also ideas and concepts about life connected to the 11th house. On the 7th of August, Mercury conjuncts Venus in the sign of Virgo. Because Mercury is retrograde, this is interesting in as much as a friendship or a conversation comes back, or possibly you may be feeling like you're falling away from a friendship, or a conversation doesn't occur that you may have wanted or anticipated. So it's a difficult day on the 7th of August. On the 14th of August, Mercury ingresses into the sign of Leo in a retrograde, your 10th house. As a Scorpio rising, your professional life is now in the spotlight. And with Mercury here, we are talking about going back over details, data, analytics, conversations, or seeing a return of an authority figure or a turnaround in your role as a leader in the workplace. On the 24th of August, Mercury sextiles Mars in Gemini, your 8th house. So Mercury retrograde from your 10th house, connecting in a sextile to your ruling planet Mars, in aversion to your first house to your 8th house. We are possibly talking about some nuances connected to finances professionally. Please be aware that we are not very open and on fire with our ruling planet Mars in aversion in 8th house to our first house. Even though things may seem smooth, because Mercury is in a retrograde, there may be changes afoot that you don't anticipate. So again, before you sign on the dotted line, before you agree or speak up about something that's connected with your financial space, there could be some backtracking that you will come into later on in the month of September 2024. On the 28th of August, Mercury goes direct in the sign of Leo, your 10th house. A turnaround in structure in the workplace, in your professional life. There may be some significant changes going on with people in your workplace. It's a busy time. When Mercury now goes direct in the 10th house, it almost feels for you as a Scorpio rising like you have found your footing and things feel a little bit more certain in regards to your role in your professional career domain. Cosmic Girl 101 signing off. Thank you so much for tuning into this month's astrology for you, Scorpio rising. I trust you have a fabulous month, and I will catch you in the next video.